Hi, this is Kevin, AB9RN. Today we're going to take a look at JT65 and two programs in particular that work with that. WSJT, one of the original programs, and JT65 HF, a newer program that works quite well as well. And we'll take a look at how that works well below the noise floor and allows contacts to be made with signals that are normally not intelligible for us with the human ear. And so a lot of new things are possible with making contacts and working towards awards and programs and moon bounce and things like that by using this. So it's quite exciting for a lot of folks, and we'll show you how it works. Alright, so we'll take a look at some of the equipment I have in my shack that we're using for our demonstration today. So we have a Kenwood TS690S HF radio. All of the contacts are made on upper sideband with JT65 as a digital mode. And so each band has an allocated frequency. We'll take a look at some of those. And so that's set up there. We have a PC audio interface. I'm using a Rig Blaster. There's a lot of different ones out there. Whatever works for you is great. Just make sure you've got some audio receive and transmit capabilities that are interfaced to your radio. And then I think finally the other key part is going to be a USB sound card or sound card device in your computer, whatever works for you. I'm using a USB based one from Sound Blaster's X5 box. So that along with ensuring that you have push to talk capabilities with your radio setup are important. That for me is handled through the Rig Blaster Plus unit, but there's a lot of different ways that you can be keying your radios, but those make sure you have that all set up, and we'll be off and running. Okay, so we're taking a look at the first of two applications. This is one of the original programs for JT65. It's called WSJT, and when you run it, it pops up and looks just like these three windows. There's a main window that you interact with that has the stuff, the call sign that you're typing in, the message you want to send, that kind of thing. There's a monitoring window, a Spec JT, that pops up automatically as well, so you can kind of see visually what's happening with across the 3 kilohertz audio passband that you're decoding, and shows you where some of the streams of data are coming in, so you can kind of fine-tune things there. And then you get a window that kind of shows you all of your audio devices, and that's important for your initial setup. You really can't make that go away, that it always stays there. But it does give you the codes on the left, the number codes that indicate what each of the audio input and output devices on all the available sound device cards are that you have on your computer. And you'll need that because when you first run this, you need to go into Setup, go to Options, you enter your call sign, your grid locator, you'll put in your push-to-talk port number. So that you have to just kind of know from how your rig station is set up. For me in particular, it's COM port 14 that controls the Rig Blaster COM port, which is what allows me to do this. And then we have audio in. That's going to be device 14, and audio out, which is going to be device 23. And those will be referenced over here. So in this list, it's 14 and 23. 14 is what you hear on device 4, SBX5 surround, and port or device 23 in this list is speakers, SBX5 surround. So that's how you tell WSJT which audio devices on your computer you want to use to get the audio in and out of the program into your radio. At that point, distance units, miles, kilometers, take your pick. Everything else you can kind of leave as defaulted, and then you can close that. Then at that point in time, you would normally stop, exit WSJT and then restart the program, come back in, and you would hopefully start it without any errors, start to be able to decode if your radio's turned on. I'm tuned right now to 20 meter band and 14.076, which is one of the common channels for JT65 as a mode. And so what it'll immediately start to do, normally when you have monitor turned on here, is listen to what it sees coming across that 3 kilohertz wide audio passband and start decoding it. Now, the nature of JT65 is a 1 minute transmit, 1 minute receive type of cycle. So you're listening for a minute and then you are transmitting for a minute. Now, right now we're just listening all the time, so what we're hearing are different conversations taking place between multiple folks out there running this program or the other program that we'll look at in a moment. And so we're seeing what's being decoded by them. And so you'll see call signs listed here with grid locators, and you'll see signal reports. In this case, an R-07 is a 07 dB value that's been decoded here. You can kind of see some of those coming up in the program itself as part of the decoder algorithm and what it's detecting. You can see people calling CQ. Here's a CQ from EA8AQV with a grid locator of IL28. That's interesting. Not around here. And one of the things that's neat about this mode is that you see a lot of contacts coming in from far, far away that when you normally would call CQ on voice or sideband, that they would never hear enough to want to probably come back to you unless they were probably into QRP or something. And so this is in a lot of ways, a lot of folks running really low power, and you're getting essentially a lot of QRP types of contacts that you can make, but it's all going to be in the form of text, and it's going to take a little time and go a little slow, but it is quite neat, and you can log contacts this way, especially if you're working on awards programs. So from here we can basically pick the one that we want to talk to. So if we wanted to respond to this guy, we could double click it here. It'll fill it in the 2 radio. It will then pre-populate a bunch of messages here for us, and those are some of the standard messages that we looked at earlier in the presentation, but normally it's kind of typical with how you'd expect. You exchange some signal reports, and then some of the codes like RRR indicate that everything has been positively confirmed on both ends, or your end rather, and it's kind of like saying QSL as a response, and then you have your normal 73s and you're done. Okay, so let's try and make contact here with one of these call signs. Right now we just have EA8 up there, AQV. Let's see if there's another one calling CQ here. Looks like KF7 HNA. So we can try him. Looks like that's more current here. Double click that, and then what we're going to do is turn on auto. Right now auto is off, but what this will do is automatically set the software in the sequence of the 1 minute cycles, so it'll automatically start transmitting at the next window of opportunity. Now, because we're responding to a CQ, we're not going to have this TX first set, because that'll put us in the other odd cycle. So if you were the originator, then you want to be in the TX first because you're calling CQ. If you're responding to somebody's CQ, then you don't want that set. Otherwise, software is going to be into the wrong 1 minute window, if you will, as it alternates from send and receive, send and receive. So we have this on. We're going to wait a moment here. We should see the radio will kick into transmit mode in a moment. And then one of the things that we'll want to watch, there we go. We are now transmitting on 20 meters. One of the things we want to make sure we do is not overdrive our ALC, because the overmodulation will interfere with other people working this mode on in this part of the channel, but also cause interference and then make our signal not interpretable by the other software on the other end either. So we want to make sure we're keeping an eye on that. So this will go for about 47 seconds, and then when it's done, it'll flip back to the receive mode, and we'll wait and see if the other station responds. And now we're waiting. All right, so we've got AB9RN responding to us, and so we're going to TX stop there because that went into cycle. We're going to have to catch up on the next pass. I didn't get in there fast enough. So one of the things you have to be very timely about this if you want to catch it on each flip-flop from transmit to receive. So he responded. I had a couple of seconds to basically absorb after the software decoded that he was exchanging a -06 signal report. At this point, we'd want to set ours, so we can use one of these messages here and flip over to KF7BRN, and we can put our signal report in here. So we could say we are decoding him right here at a -6. So I could say like a R minus receiving you at -6, and then put that into auto on, and he'll pick this up on the next go round here. And we're transmitting. So I'll set up my next message while he's sending, because I've got his report here. I'm going to send RR, which means I'm got everything from you, great, and I got all of your information, and then we'll do a 73s and we'll wrap her up. And so he sent to us an RRR. We'll respond to him with the same. So that's WSJT, and we'll now take a look at the other program, JT65 HF. Okay, we're now going to take a look at JT65 HF, which is a newer program that's out there. And this one, a little bit easier to use, actually. It's kind of evolved on the other program and incorporated some nicer features, I think, that just make the QSO exchange a little bit cleaner to do. It keeps everything a little bit more organized in one interface. One of the things on setup here you'll want to do, kind of like the other program, is designate a couple of things. Your call sign, your grid, and then your sound card devices in and out. A similar way that we did before, just here you pick them in drop downs rather than trying to type the codes in. As far as other things in here go, your rig control for push to talk, again, know your port number, put that in. If you're using Ham Radio Deluxe, you can actually use the TCP interfaces to do the keying of the radio if you'd like that way. So that's basically the only ones you really have to do. When you come back in here, so I flipped the radio now over. I'm on 80 meters now. We're at 3.576 megahertz and upper sideband. And so what we'll do down here in the this field, we can right click. We always specify and let the software know what band we're in. So I'm going to say right there is 3576, and right away the software starts decoding. Since we've had this up as we've been talking here, it starts decoding what it's hearing. This one's a little bit cleaner, like I said. If it's in gray, message coming through, that indicates there's QSO in progress, so don't bother trying to talk to those folks just yet. Then it's kind of obvious from some of the messages you're seeing there. But if you get a green line, that means there's a CQ call out there, and you can basically double click it. It fills all the information in and enables the transmitter automatically, so make sure you're ready to go. In fact, we are now transmitting. It was that fast. So this is KG8080C in EN83, not too far from here actually. And click in Michigan. And so this one also gives you some progress indicator, so you can see what's happening. The one that's kind of being decoded, the stream, is more clean to see here too. So it's going to be the red highlighted area in the graph up on top here, and there's a plus or minus 100 hertz variance that the software can account for when trying to decode a stream. Each one of these, and you can see here, there's three different conversations taking place, 1, 2, and 3, that are all inside this 3 kilohertz audio passband. Now we called a response to his CQ. We'll see if this is him coming back to us now at this stage. We've got that lined up here now. We will want to get prepared, because in a moment here, when this thing hits 100%, it's going to be our turn to transmit. We're going to want to respond. So we're going to answer the CQ. We've already answered with our call sign. Now we can answer with a signal report. All I have to do is hit send report, and now it's going to punch in his last numbers that we received him at, which was -4 dB. He's relatively strong for a JT65 contact. Let's see what comes back here after decode. All right. So here's a red row means it's an active conversation for you taking place. So in this case, he's giving us a report of minus 10 dB, and so we can use that in our logbooks. And because we had already said send our report, it is now flipped over to automatically transmitting that to him. With our signal report of minus 4 dB, which it filled in for us automatically. So, yeah, this program's a little bit matured a bit on the earlier one. And again, you can kind of see it here. It's just a little bit easier to run. It's a couple of buttons you click, but everything's all filled in for you as you click on the different things that the call signs that you want to interact with. And with the automation, you just kind of need to be on the ball here a bit because you got to kind of have to move as soon as you hear response. Get ready with your next message and response so that you can keep moving along. Otherwise, you're going to repeat the last message if you missed your opportunity to change it up. So you can't, while you're in the middle of a 1 minute transmission window, change your message. It needs the entire 47 seconds to convey the entire text or message that you originally started sending. So I got an RRR back, which means he copied everything I sent perfectly clear. So we can send him a little message about our station setup here. It's fairly custom to see that out there. Put, holiday greetings in there if you'd like. You don't have a lot of text to work with. We're almost done here. The other thing you want to keep an eye on when you're receiving is your audio input levels. If you have too hot of audio, you'll find that neither of these two programs decode at all. So it's very important that you keep that down. Now, they have some nice audio level indications here already that give you some indication what's happening. Right now, you want to be at a 0 on the left and the right channels. We're at +5 on both. You can see now you've got basically some audio faders here that you can work with. I've already got dialed down all the way, and I just have very hot audio coming on my HF rig, which I need to pad down, but this is about as good as I can get it. So it does work. It just you want to make sure it's not really hot, otherwise you'll find that it's not decoding anything. So this guy responded with Logbook of the World, LOTW, and EQSL 73s. So he'd like to see us do one of the two. Apparently he doesn't like my paper cards that I might end up sending him. So ends that conversation, and you can see he's not transmitting again. Well, we're not transmitting again because we're basically done. So that ends that QSO, and that's JT65 HF.